Hey, thanks for tuning back in to Out on a Limb with Gabby Allan. Today I have the absolute delight of having Briana Michaels with us. And we're going to be talking books, we're going to be talking process, we're going to be talking dark, angsty things. And I am so excited to get into it. So let's go ahead and say hi to Briana Michaels and find out. So, what is it that you do and how do you do it?
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. I wore my special shirt. It says,
I love
my
it.
soul was removed to make room for all the sarcasm. So I really thought that was something that bonded us.
I know,
So
right? That's one of the many things that I love about you.
I do. Well, thank you. I love that about you also. Mutual Admiration Society. Here we come.
Right?
Oh my gosh. So tell us a little about what kind of books do you write?
I write paranormal romance, which is a little on the dark side, and then I write reverse harem romance, which is super on the dark side.
Okay, so the little on the dark side versus the super on the dark side. Like, so did you choose to do it that way, or were you more like, okay, I kind of want to make a distinction between the two?
No, I feel like even when I start out fun and frilly, it always goes down the rabbit hole.
I love that. I will never forget being on retreat with you, and you're like, so this is my issue, and I'm like, whoa, okay, we can work with that. What is it?
I know.
How badly do you want to torture these people? All right, yeah, well, we can do broken glass with a ballerina and hurting.
Yes! That's why I love doing all the paranormal stuff, because I feel like you can really bump up all the things.
You
it's
know
like
what?
they can handle it. Their threshold's way higher than the humans.
It's funny that you say that, because I am a full-on believer with that. I did those 2 books for Harlequin, and I mean, he electrocutes himself to get rid of his darkness. She was a prostitute and I think a heroin addict, if I remember correctly. And I was writing them and I'm thinking, I would have never done this in a contemporary romance. Could you imagine having those people be your contemporary romance heroes and heroines? No, I couldn't. And so I get that. And so it gets, what kind of paranormal do you do? You're vampire, werewolf, and then fae, right?
Yeah, I have in the Sins of the She series is all my favorites. That's what I started writing with. So it was a true write what you love and you know what you want to read. So I have Highlander, druids, and fae, and demons, and witches, and angels, and creatures that don't have names. I did all the my favorites.
Yes.
And then the series I'm putting out next year is all lichens and vampires, and a few other creatures will come into play.
Of course.
So, and that's been super fun to write. I remember I legit have said, the words came out of my mouth, I will never write a vampire romance.
You never, don't ever say never.
Because I know, it was like the universe was like, hold my beer. Like,
hold all my beers and
just
in the back.
You sit tight. I'll be with you in a minute. Right. Yeah. And now I'm like, why didn't I do this so long ago? Because this series I actually had on the back burner for 2 years while I wrote my reverse harem series, which is the Hellhounds Harem series. And that sucked all of my time and energy in a very wonderful way.
Absolutely.
I was not drained reading. Like, that was as angsty and devastating as some of that was to write. Oh, I was juiced every day. It was so fun. Yes. That was a really fun one to do. So
is the reverse harem done?
Yes and no.
Okay.
What I've written so far is 9 books total, and it's written in 3 trilogies.
Yes.
So you get 3 different reverse harem romances. They each have their own plot in the major story arc, but the entire story arc does not end until the end of the 9th book. Now what I'm doing is I couldn't walk away, and the more I started to I made myself at home in hell.
Yeah.
And the more I started to
Did you see the t-shirt the other day that says hell was boring?
oh
I'm thinking
no,
you need that one. I think that is not the one that I bought you, but I believe that will be on my shopping list next, because I feel like hell was boring is going to be like something that you need to be able to wear.
I know, I would totally rock that. Like
yes, you would. Yes.
yeah, but as soon as I like started to like the side characters really, and I am I don't know, like I know that there's pantsers and I know that there's plotters and then I know that there's people that do a little of both, but I really write with all of my gut. I know a lot of it is pantsing. Most of it's all pantsing, but it's gut driven.
Okay. Yeah.
So I will write things not understanding why I said that.
Okay.
And
that's
they are sometimes very off the wall, but I put that in there. And I just kind of am like, well, let's see where that goes. And then it's something like a weird little breadcrumb that I don't know why I said that. But if I put it down, there must have been a reason. I just haven't dug deep enough in my own brain to figure it out. And I don't that think always ends to something being way more epic. Like, no surprises for the author, no surprises for the reader. It goes in line with that.
Absolutely. So, well, and I think when you take the time to allow yourself to write that kind of stuff, you're like accessing a part of you that is not quite so methodical. And so you are coming up with things that later on you're going to be like, oh, I see what you did there.
Right?
I see what I did there. And you're like, oh, I finally understand where this came from. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I love being surprised by my stuff sometimes. Although I do find that I do it more in paranormal than I do in like contemporary mysteries or what I'm writing now on top of the paranormal. But when I'm in the paranormal world, there's like this switch, and I don't know where it comes from, and I don't know who the hell turns it on, but somebody does. And I'm writing and I'm like, oh, okay, well, we're just gonna keep on going on that. And then it never fails. Like 3-4 books later, I'm like, oh, that's the perfect place for this. I would never have been able to like think that out into the future and put it in because I had thought it out in the future, but being able to use it because it's already in there makes a big difference. So were you able to do that with the reverse harem? Because you have 9 books, you have 3 sets of 3, you have 3 arcs within each set, and then you have an overarching. So did you go in kind of knowing what your overarching was going to be, or did you decide that as you were going along?
I decided it as I was going along, because I was basically the 2-year-old and the characters were the adults, because I was just like, yeah, but why? Yeah, but why? Yeah, but why? And they would keep giving me more answers. And then the deeper I went, the more I was like, this has a much bigger story, a much bigger plot, it's a lot more in depth than what I had originally planned. Because when I sat, this was a lightning strike story for me. I was watching cartoons with the kids and it just hit me. Like the very first trilogy just hit me, and I was like, oh. And I was in the middle of writing a book already, like for the Sin series. This was not at all what I was supposed to be doing.
No, yeah.
I grabbed my notebook and I literally sketched out. I had 3 different titles. I only used the first, the other 2 titles I changed. And I just started writing little notes, and then I sketched out the logo, which has really branded it beautifully.
Yes,
and
it is awesome.
And it was like, boom, done. In 5 minutes, I had an entire trilogy set up, and I wrote it as fast as I thought of it. Like it really soared out of me. And then I started to dig deeper, and I was like, oh, this is so much. So by the time I got to the end of book 9, there were certain things that certain characters were saying or doing. And I was like, but what's the rules on that? Well, what's that mean? But who do you work for? You don't, are you supposed to be here? You won't tell, And then I realized, so when I'm now plotting the next set of books, and I'm like, this is really, I think it'll be a cool new take on you know, different things I've already set in place.
Good.
But all the hellhounds in that series, they're all men. There's
Okay.
one woman. It starts with just one woman, and she's in a
Mm-hmm.
pack. Now I have a chance to make it a little more co-ed, which
Nice.
they're all very happy about.
Of course. Of course.
So
They're
much
like,
material to work with.
excuse me, can we have just, hey, couple more women in here?
I know, right? Hey, what about us? Hey, you know,
Right.
you're right.
Right. And I
Yeah.
mean, so it does sound like you have at least some idea of what you're doing. Like I know people who literally will write a book. They don't know the people's names. They don't know anything about it. They just are like transcribing what is coming into their brain. But it sounds like you're almost a meshing of those two things, that you have some idea of what you're doing, but that you allow then your gut to kind of tell the story, as opposed to writing everything down, having a synopsis ready, you know, looking
Yeah.
back at it and saying, oh, this is what I was supposed to do next. This is what I was supposed to do next. So, and that's
Yeah.
good. You know, I mean, part of this podcast for me is wanting to encourage people to know that there are as many ways to do this as there are people who are doing it.
Oh
And
yeah.
you know, some people are very like, I have to write linearly. So do you write linearly? Like, do you start at the beginning and write through? Or
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So when I hit a wall, I stay at the wall, like thunk,
Yeah.
thunk, until I figure it out. Yeah. Which sometimes makes me cry.
Yes, I
And
understand.
sometimes I get a little too stubborn about it. And, you know, and then other times I literally have to just walk away, and I might have to walk away for a whole month.
Okay.
I've tried to push through it. I tried it twice, and I got a little over 30,000 words written pushing through it, and hated every word and deleted the whole thing. That hurt. But in the end, it worked out beautifully, because once I was ready and my head was set in that mode, then I could do it. One thing I did notice, though, is when I'm writing a new world and characters, like I might only see one or two characters, but there might be five on, you know what I mean, that I have to know.
Yes.
And I start out writing, because I'm just still trying to, you know, it's like being on a date. You're trying to feel each other out, trying to feel each other, and I'll write like I'm hovering above them.
Oh, okay.
And I write it very removed.
Okay.
And then once I figure out, and it really does, I remember this one character, his name is Drake. I literally was on the 5th book, and I'm like, tell me your name, like something, dude. You're just sitting there like a, and I was so like, you're really important, and you got to open those jaws up and tell me at least your name. Right. And he wouldn't do it. Oh. And I was just putting like random fillers in to figure out like, this is horrible. Right. And the minute he landed on, like, it was his time. This was the first scene written in his point of view.
Yes.
I was there. Boom. We were in it. I was standing on my seat like Gollum, like I do.
I love your gargoyle pose. I cannot lie about that. I have watched you right before we've done retreats for people who are listening. And you don't tend to do that on other people's chairs, but I have seen you right at home, and you do, like, there's the squat and type thing. And I love watching it. It's you almost have like this energy that's around you that I'm like, don't touch that, or you.
And that's how it was like with this guy. That's and when he came on the page, I was shaking. I remember it so well. Like his voice was a roar, and it went from there. And I was like, it's about time, you know. But also like, I see why you held back. You're a little intense.
Thanks for showing up, though. I so appreciate that.
Right?
That's hysterical. So because of the way that you write and you are independent publishing, do you tend to, I don't think you did it with your first series, but do you now write all 9 books and then make a release schedule? Or do you, like, what's your process there?
Okay. Well, I've tried it all. I'm still trying new ones.
No, that's good. That's good. Like I said, you know, we want people to know that you can do it any way you want.
Yeah, whatever floats your boat, really.
Seriously.
Like I've literally woke up one morning and been like, I'm feeling kind of cute. Might hit publish today. And that's just what I did. That is 100%. I didn't even put out like a cover reveal, nothing. I just was like,
there you go. I hope you're ready.
Yeah, I've done that. I've tried the like, oh, maybe I'll do a pre-order. I've tried the, I'm a numbers girl. I like lucky things. I like signs. I like all of that.
Yes.
So I do try to pick out dates that I think will bring me good luck, bring my characters good luck.
Why not?
So that might be as close as I get to a planning. But other than that, I
plan by whether or not I feel that 7-3-21 is. I mean, that involves the 7s, the 3s, and then 7 times 3 is 21. And so, I mean, that's a pretty awesome day.
How can you go wrong?
No, you can't.
I've done 2, 2, 2, like, because 22 is my lucky number.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing
now
wrong with that.
With the sins, I did I wrote them and then I'd put it out, and then I'd write the next one and I'd put it out. So, and I can sometimes write them super fast, and sometimes it takes me a very long time. So they were a little sporadic. I didn't have them. It was all just literally when they got done, I hit publish and let everyone know. And then with the Hellhounds, I did something very different.
Okay.
Because I am a cliffhanger junkie. I love it. I will never, ever forget when I was reading a Karen Monning book.
Yes.
And I thought I had like a good 60 pages left. And it was glossary of terms. And I had no clue. And we get to the ending of this one particular book. And the cliffhanger, okay, I am not lying, and it's embarrassing. I literally got physically ill. I was because I was so invested. I was shaking. I was nervous. We are in serious trouble. And then I'm holding on to the remaining pages like, we're going to get through it. We're going to get through it. And then
nothing.
There was nothing. And I
Did you tell her that?
Got sick.
Did you tell her that?
No, I'm going to. I'm like, thank you.
That's between you and me and whoever's listening.
And the rest. Yeah. But at the end of and then I cried. I flat out sobbed.
Yeah.
And then I had to wait a year for the next book. And that was fine. That was fine. I don't mind waiting.
Okay.
But in that wait, I was thinking to myself, I want to do that to someone. I want someone to feel like, I also didn't want anyone to have to wait a year. So when I wrote the Hellhounds, the cliffhangers are doozies. So I wrote all 3, like the entire trilogy, and I put it all out on the same day at the same time. So you got the shock factor and the comfort read right after.
There you go. Yeah. So I like that.
That's how I did that.
I like that because I am not against cliffhangers at all, but having to wait a year for one, I would probably be like, oh no, I love it. I know that there are some people, and there's a thing going around on Facebook right now about that some traditional publishers are dropping authors because more people are so used to binging on Netflix that if they wait until the entire series is done and then they buy the whole thing and read the whole thing. And so then that makes the numbers, if we're talking numbers, appear poorly to the publishing company, because like on the last book, all of a sudden all of these numbers are going, but on the last book they already have not upped the contract for the author because the first ones didn't sell well enough for them to feel like anything past 5. That's what happened with the tallies, is that tally 1 did really well, tally 2 did better, not better than 1, but good, and then by tally 5 people were like, they're still buying it, but they're not buying it in droves the same way. And then I ended it and people were like, I'm gonna go buy the whole thing now, and I'm like, oh okay, well maybe Kensington will see that and think. But with Kensington, you have to wait 2 years. So I turn in a book and 2 years later it comes out. So is that one of the reasons that you are independently publishing, besides your absolute love of control and cliffhangers, is that, you know,
those are really my only two reasons.
Okay.
I need the control and the cliffies.
So do you do your own covers? I'm sorry that I can't remember whether or not you do.
No,
okay.
I don't. I can't take credit. I have an image in my head of what I want and the vibe I want.
Yes.
And then my husband will do them.
Okay.
It is a test of our marriage some nights, because this poor man will sit for hours and he'll give me exactly what I asked for. He down to the shade of red. And then I'll look at him like, that's not what I like. And you're like, that's what you said. Like, we went through this. You literally this is what you said. I'm like, yeah, but now that I see it all in one thing, it looks dumb. I don't like my idea now. And then, he back to the drawing board he goes.
Yeah. I have my kid that I do that with, and I'm like, okay, so and then here you go. And then I get it, and I'm like, well, that color is a little, then again,
it looked way cooler in my head.
Yes. Yeah. Sometimes I want to just put like a straw in there and just like it out
with all the technology that they have out there now, that should be a thing. They should just be able to like project the image like on the screen from our brain and suck out the book ideas so that I can stop twitching when I have too many in my head at once.
Right.
Like, I just need it out.
That might be a little scary though, because I know that up here it can be a little frightening for some people sometimes. So, we might end up a little more isolated than we had meant to be if people were to really be able to see everything that's going on up there. True. So with the reverse harem, those are 9. And then you are going to do some side character stories. This new set with the lichens and the vampires, are any of those out yet, or are you like stacking up to be able to do like a more rapid release?
All right, so I've done I might try a pre-order, and I'm feeling cute, might just hit publish today.
Yes.
This is me now doing I'm going to set up a long pre-order.
Oh, hello.
I'm going to market, like do some marketing.
Okay.
What a concept.
You know what though? You will have really good data about what works best for you, because you have done it so many different ways. You can see whether or not, okay, so when I market, does it make a difference?
Yes, if I pay attention to it.
Just ask your husband to pay attention to it.
Someone else is going to have to do that. I just like to sit and write. Somebody else has got to handle all the other hard things. Like I can only brain so much.
Yes.
But I am hoping to have the first one out in February.
Oh.
I say I'm hoping because I will also 1000% jump the gun and be like, I just did it now. And end up doing the thing I always do way in advance.
It'll be December and you're like,
I know. I mean, the
I'm
sun's
thinking
shining.
Now. Yeah.
Right. A bird just flew by me. I'm feeling like I might just hit publish.
It's 12/22/21, which has all of my 2s, and it's the same backwards and forwards. I'm thinking today.
See, now you're just influencing me more. This is terrible.
I can't say that I'm sad about that.
I know. I know. Keep going.
I do enjoy
this sounds like a great idea. This is a good plan. It's still a plan.
Right. Yes. And December is still months away. So I feel like that is something that you would be able to, really feel like you had put some thought into.
Right? And we can pretend.
But why not? We do.
But I wanted to this whole year, and I'm so fortunate because I have the coolest readers ever.
Yes, you really do.
Something that I think that some authors, and I'm putting myself in that pot, is you end up chasing your tail. You're so in a hurry to get out that next book because you're excited to write it.
Yes.
Your readers are excited to read it, and you end up spinning so fast you will unravel eventually. And that was starting to happen with me. I was enjoying the spin out because I love that chaos. I like it.
And there's
But,
nothing wrong with that either.
you got to sleep, you have to eat, you have a family, you have other priorities, and they can easily sometimes slide down. And so this year, the Hellhounds really took up, like I said earlier, like they took up all of my energy, time, and soul. And I regret none of it. That was awesome. But I had on my wall all the ideas that other book ideas. And I was like, I don't know when I'm ever going to get it, because between the Hellhounds, Harem, and my Sins of the She series, they take up my whole year. That's I try to put out 5 books a year, and that's a lot, and that's my whole year.
Yeah.
So this time I actually started in January. I even wrote my readers a long note that I posted on social media, just saying, you will get nothing from me. Right. Not until at least 2022. I really want to try to write this book that's been sitting on the back burner for 2 years. Right. And I really want to avoid series fatigue for myself and for them. You know, that's a real thing. Absolutely. And I don't want, like, my fires burn so bright for what I write that I don't want it to ever dim down. And sometimes you have to step away and breathe on your own before you can jump back in. And so this year I wanted to write a psychological thriller with a little paranormal twist that would be interesting. I wanted to write The Vampires and the Lycans, which is going to be a series of standalones. Okay. I wanted to write a spin-off series of The Sins of the She with a set of characters that were all going to be standalones. I still haven't gotten to that one. And then I wanted to start the next Hellhounds adventure. Okay. And they have howled the loudest. So I have started to write a little bit about that, which was really good. And then I know, like, oh, look away. All right. But then, the freedom, I know some people, they write so well under pressure. Yeah. How do they do it? How do you do it? Because I cry under pressure. I am not, you cannot turn me into the diamond that shines bright. I literally just turn into like dust that you blow away. Like,
you're that black crusty dust on the floor after the diamond has been transported out. And then there I went. Like, I can't. No, I can't. No, and I freeze. But that's real. And it's something for people to take into consideration, because, like, so I have these Magically Suspicious books that I've been doing every other month, and they're novellas. And I have the new book coming out on the 27th under my pen name, Gabby, Allan. And then I want to write a tally, because there are a lot of people asking for are there more? And I'm like, okay. And I really wanted to write this set of books that was like a revisiting Moonlighting from the 80s, but reversing the roles. And I think I want them to be paranormal. Initially, I wasn't going to do paranormal. And I'm like, oh, but that could be so much fun if they were paranormal. And what if he doesn't want to do paranormal? Like, they have their agency, and he's been running it. And she comes in because she's inheriting. And he thought that she was like going to, go elsewhere, and she shows up. He thinks she's the cleaning lady, and she's like, no, and we have a big case. And I was like, oh God, I want to write that, and then I want to write this, and I want to write that. And I'm like, okay, make a plan, and if you change it, then you change it. It's not the end of the world. But when I make a plan, I feel more settled. But it can't be too, like, I can't put months to it, because if I put months to it, then I feel pressure. Like you were saying. Then you're locked in a little bit. I don't do well with the locking in. And, because I have had moments where I'm literally, I'll sit at the computer easily 16, 18 hours. Mm-hmm. I like my knees are killing me. Mm-hmm. Like, my butt is asleep. Like, everything hurts. My eyes are burning, but I'm so driven. I'm so lost in this story. I can't put it away. But I find myself saying, like, I have a deadline to meet. No, I don't. I'm my own boss. Me. Like, if I say, hey, I'm not going to work today, I'm not going to be like,
you're fired. No, I'm not. Like, what am I gonna do?
You don't have
So
to
every
call
time,
in sick.
I want to have like a little bit of structure for myself because I'm a pretty chaotic, loosey-goosey girl. I just go wherever I flow.
Yeah, right.
But at the same time, if I do it or somebody else does it and says, "Hey, this needs to be done by Tuesday," it's like I could have had it done to you by Sunday, the day, a few days prior, had you not just said that. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta get it done by Tuesday. I don't know how to do it. I can't work like that. I don't know what my problem is. So it's nice. This whole year, I thought, I don't owe anybody anything. All I have to owe is myself, the creative, time I need to get out whatever I feel like writing. So I have been able to all year so far bounce between secret projects, the main project I'm working on, passion projects on the side. Like I have several going at once because I'm not blocked at all. I can just, whatever I literally wake up and feel like writing, I can jump right into it. And I'm digging that a lot.
I call that buffer because for a long time, I was on deadline and they were publisher deadlines. And like, it had to be done by August 15th. It had to be done by February 15th. It had to be, everything was very regimented. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I don't like that I'm selling 3 books and I've only written the first 100 pages of one. Because that makes me very nervous, because if like something happens, I do have some health issues. If something happens, I'm screwed. And I really don't like having to write that email that says, I know I said I'd get this to you on the 15th, but can I have until the 28th? And then I'm like hauling ass through 30,000, 80,000 words. Now I'm actually worse off than if I had already like written what I knew I was going to put out and then sell it as a series. This is my first foray into self-publishing. And now I'm like, oh, now hold on a second. So what we have is the ability to, if it doesn't sell anywhere else, they're already done. I can go ahead and put them out whenever I want to. And I like that. And I think maybe that's part of what the year has been for you, is having enough time to do enough things that you're not writing, publishing, so that you can do all the things and then put them out when you're ready.
Yeah, I really do sit back, and when I look at especially the traditionally published authors, they're contracted out so far in advance that that book was done 2 years ago. They're way ahead of the game, even though it may not always look like it. Several of them, you know what I mean? Like and I'm always like, what's that feel like? Because I literally just closed one document that I finished, and I opened a new document and began again. Like I am constantly like, woo, 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 woo. Right. And I just thought, I don't mind this part. I mind there's like a weird saying goodbye thing that I feel when I hit publish.
Yes.
I always want to improve upon myself. And I feel like I have definitely grown in writing since I started.
Your book,
there's always, you can't, I honestly can say there is no book that I've written, and I've written, I think 24 now, and I've published 18 of them so far. The rest I'm sitting on. It's like, I can randomly open any one of them and be like, let's just rewrite this. I love it, but I bet I could love it more if I just rewrote some of it. So when you hit that publish button and you really say, this is my best, and I love it and I'm proud. Yeah. You're also saying goodbye. Yeah. You can go back. I mean, you can certainly go back and tweak if you need to, but I don't want to do that. I want to now move on. And sometimes I really love that story so much. I have trouble saying goodbye. I have trouble moving on from this storyline and these characters because they all impact me very seriously. Like I totally every single character. And sometimes I really latch on to them like in big ways, and it's so hard to walk away from, which I think I kind of get around that a little bit because there's so much character crossover in my books. Exactly. I'm like, oh, hey, hi.
Hi, it's been a little while. Well,
They got this shit show over here. I don't know what they're doing.
can you come in and help me sort them out, please? And that, I mean, there's that, and that's a good thing too, because, and that's a part of what I'm doing right now for my own stuff is I do have a bunch of different things, and I may make the moonlighting part of Magically Suspicious, but bigger books. And and like have it be an offshoot, because I also, oh my God, if seriously, if I could right now, I would still be writing Ivy. I mean, it's not that I can't, it's just that in my mind I finished Ivy, because at the end there's just, she's going to move on, and I've thought about, oh well, I could do Ivy's Impeccable Investigations, and I'm like, but you have said goodbye, and it's okay to not, but I'd have 7 series going right now if I could, you know what I mean? Because I love this, and I love that, and I love you, and I love you, and can you come back? And I wrote a story for Cupboard Maker Books that actually, I think it was the Squeaky story that I wrote. And I actually brought Mel from Adventures in Ghost Sitting, Tally from Tallygraver, and Ivy into the store at the exact same time. And I was like, oh my God, this is like my best moment ever. You know what I mean?
Oh
because I was like, everybody's here. I feel like we're having a reunion. This is so exciting. And you can do that. And I think, with self-publishing too, is it easier to be able to say to your readers, hey guys, I know that Sins was done, but I actually have 3 more, and they're excited about that. And that's a decision that you make. It's not a decision that you have to defend to a publisher. It's not a decision that you have to run by a publisher. And when they're coming out. So,
well, I mean, it's funny because I had one beta reader with the 9th book is Discord. That's the latest one that I put out.
Okay.
When I had written the whole thing and it was all done, I gave it to a beta reader, and she said, you have to have everyone come back at the end for like something. And I was like, oh, because I am infamous in that series. Food is my love language, and it shines in that book, in that whole series. And so a lot of times in the books, like they gather around the table, that's where they discuss everything, and or they're all out like on the mountain, and they got the picnic tables all set up, and they're all kind of partying, but they're also doing business. And it's always, it's a thing that I knew I was doing. I didn't realize that it was something that readers were looking for.
Okay.
And so when she said, you need to do that, and I was like, oh, and she was like, I'm telling you, that's going to really round it up. And I ended up putting a whole scene at the end that ended up being so spot on for everything that I needed it to be. And I was like, all right, I get it. And I had so many readers when I put it out, they emailed me or messaged me saying, that ending. And I was like, it was so good to see, because some characters haven't been around for a while. And it was like, it was so good to see so and so again. And so I was like, oh my God. It was, wasn't it? Like, you look good.
Well, and I
feel like that kind of gives me a little bit of what I miss so much.
Absolutely.
And also, like, I can sometimes convince myself to move on, because in each book, I don't realize I do it, but now I do realize it. And so I make it a point to nail it if I can, is I want there to be some sort of really big take-home message.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, live with no regrets is a huge one. And I have another one is, find what you die for and live for it. I had, and that will be like an underlying theme in these stories. And I had a reader one time, she had messaged me and just said, that she was thanking me because I had an author note in the book as well, because it was a very serious, sad book. Of all the goofy things I may put in a book, I am pretty dark. And this one really hit a lot of feelings.
Okay.
And I put an author note in the front that said, there's a reason why, I'm writing these characters together like this, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
It was two main female characters with,
Okay.
it was a double romance story.
Oh, okay.
And then in the end, you see why they had to have their story told together. And then I explained a little bit more. And, I had one reader who was like, this got me out of a very long depression. Like, your note hit so hard that I was able to, to get out of bed, which I haven't done in, I don't know how long. I actually went outside. It was all those things. And I thought, that beats ever making a bestseller list. That beats ever getting an HBO contract. That literally beats any kind of fame and fortune one could possibly wish for in this business. That one can't even be touched. I was like, I'm done. That's it.
Right.
I can do no more today.
Thanks so much. Yeah. And no, I do not write dark like you do, except for the Wicked Ink. But even those were funny, even though he's electrocuting himself. You'd have to read them. But anyway, but I tend to write stories where the heroine has flaws and she embraces those flaws. There are things that she is willing to change about herself, things that she might want to work on, but at the core of her, she figures out that she really is enough. And I have had readers who have said, my heroines also tend to be bigger because my thighs have always touched and I don't know what it's like to be little. So, but I've had women who have, emailed me and said, so does this mean that I can also not settle? And I was like, oh honey, no, we don't settle. You don't ever settle. You are allowed to have, and you can expect anyone. And I'm like, or someone will email and say, this really helped me get through my cancer and I was having a bad day the other day and I thought, what, if Ivy can do this, then so can I. And I was like, I'll be back in 10 minutes after I bawl my eyes out.
Right?
Yeah. Right. Because this is our imagination, but it's still us. And we are touching people's lives that we have never met, and we might never meet them, but our stories speak to them in a way that make them feel like there's hope. And I don't know.
It gets no better.
No, it really doesn't. It really doesn't. And that is a beautiful thing. Well, we are right on time. You are a wonderful guest. So let's do this. Where can we find you? And what is coming out next?
You can find me all over social media. I'm on TikTok, Facebook. My website's brianamichaels.com.
Okay.
You can find all my links there as well.
Okay.
Instagram, it's all Briana Michaels author.
Okay.
You can search me and find me there. I am really awkward and weird on TikTok. I've totally embraced it and I'm having way too good of a time.
I don't think that's possible. I don't think that I am still, I'm putting in, for anybody who's watching, I would like you to start bothering her because I want author readings in wings with goth makeup. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's what I want. I want the big ragged wings that you have.
I pop.
Yes, the ones that you hit me with when we were on retreat that one time. But I want that, and I think that would be so much fun. And obviously, I'm not going to push you into doing it. But if you wanted to, I certainly would not be against that at all because you are so much fun. And I think that being that you're so much fun, when people then read your books and see how serious they also are, that there is a message there that you are really good at communicating and giving hope even in the worst situations. Yeah. And I did read your books when you were first starting out and they were good. They were very good. They are phenomenal now. And I know, sorry, didn't mean to make you blush, but they really are.
I don't know how to handle a compliment.
I know. That's why I saved it till the end. So that if you had to run away, that I could just stop recording. But I think that that you are very approachable as an author, and I think that readers really like being able to talk to you as a person and not necessarily feel like you're not somebody that they could be friends with. and
Oh,
and that makes a big difference. I mean, I feel like if people feel like they can, that was a double sentence if I ever wrote one, but I feel like people enjoy interacting with authors that they could imagine themselves going to have dinner with or going to have coffee with or something like that. And no matter what the contents of your book is about, you still pull that off. And I in the paranormal world too, I think a lot of people read to to realize that their life might be rough, but it's not dancing in bloody mirrors.
right, right,
That it's, if that's survivable, hell, I can go out to the grocery store, you know.
right,
So, and
exactly.
there's, I love that you give hope, and your covers are so pretty, and
Oh,
they're
thank
just,
you.
yeah, I mean, absolutely. And you know, as you're going through and as things are, I am not usually a dark paranormal reader, and I got one of yours, I got Restless, and I was like, oh, Briana, you and I are going to have a talk, because now I'm sucked in. You freaking little shrew. You have sucked me in. And now I don't know what the hell I'm going to do, because now I got to read it all. And Daniel's like, are we having dinner? And I'm like, no, I'm not. Take my phone and order something. I'm not really sure what to tell you. I am reading a Briana Michaels book. Do you not see that? So, and it's a wonderful thing, and I would love for more people to find you. So I am so very thrilled that you were here today. This is absolutely wonderful. I have had a blast with you, and yeah, I your TikToks amuse me, and they will
They amuse me.
but you can tell that. See, but I think that that's, and this is my last compliment, okay, so just brace yourself. I think people can tell that you have an enormous joy in what you do,
Oh
and
yeah.
that is never going to come off wrong. I think that there are some people who do what they're supposed to do because they're supposed to do it. There are some people who will do what they need to do because they need to do it. And then there are people who need to do a certain thing, but they take such joy out of it that you can not help but notice. And you are one of those people.
Oh my goodness.
I know. So I'll let you go turn radish red all on your own. And this has been a blast. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for being here for another Out on the Limb with Gabby. Allan. The lovely Briana Michaels is available to find online, TikTok, she said, Facebook, Instagram. Go to her website, look it up, and start getting to know how very much fun it is to know this one. So the wicked
Thank
one
you.
is what she calls herself sometimes. All right. Thank you very much. I hope you have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Thanks.